Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to another video and another tier list video, where today we'll be talking about diets for muscle growth, the best diets for muscle growth. We're going to be looking at 8 different diets, and we'll be ranking them from S to F on how good they are, assuming that you want optimal muscle growth. Alright, so we have the South Asian diet, the Western diet, the Mediterranean diet, the Keto diet, the Paleo diet, vegan, you already know where that's ending up, vegetarian diet, and carnivore diet, okay? So we'll be going through these 8 diets, and we'll be assuming 2 specific things. One, we're assuming that none of these diets are eaten with supplements, so people are following these diets. 2, these diets are followed very strictly, so we're not, just supplementing with some milk on a vegan diet, just to get the extra protein in. That's not how it's going to work. So these are very strict diets. We're assuming that you're very strict in how you're dieting, okay? And we'll be breaking down the science and reasons behind why these diets are not, or why they are, the most optimal. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Number 1, the South Asian diet, okay? Now, the South Asian diets, this is like the Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi. These diets are or Nepalese as well. These diets are very, very, very carb heavy. Very carb heavy. Okay? They have low DIAS. DIAS, basically DIAAS, is protein bioavailability. So the protein that's even in the foods, like for example, lentils, chickpeas have some protein, but there's so little bioavailability in those foods that the protein you're getting isn't even digested. So you're literally just eating carbs. In general, the South Asian diet really lacks protein. Now, there's a lot of people in South Asia, the southern part of South Asia, who eat a lot of meat, but there's a lot of vegetarians in South Asia as well. We'll assume that you're eating moderate meat and moderate, just the standard South Asian food. But yeah, it's very carb heavy. There's some animal protein. There's a lot of dairy. And that specific dairy, which is the dairy found in South Asia, which is very different from the dairy found in the United States and Canada, like in the Western countries. That dairy is optimal, and it does give them a lot of protein. The dairy in the United States and like Western protein isn't very well digested by South Asians in general, so they don't really absorb a lot of the protein from that. But we're gonna put South Asian diet in the C tier just because it has so many carbs. Of course, you can build muscle on it. You've prioritized the high DIAS foods. You can build tons of muscle just as well as anyone in the S tier. But in general, you're following the general rule of thumb. Let's say you're eating lentils and chickpeas. It's a C tier. Sorry about that. You're not going to be building much muscle, and it's not very good. It's not very optimal if you want to be building a ton of muscle. Second off, we're going to move into the Western diet. So the Western diet is interesting. There's a lot of complete proteins available because the protein is mostly just from like mashed potatoes and stuff like lean chicken, beef, pork. So these are all meats are very, very clean proteins, obviously. So you get a lot of protein through the meats. The Western diet is ultra calorie dense though. It's very, very high calorie. You're going to get fat. But remember, it's diets for muscle growth, right? We're talking about muscle growth specifically. You can build muscle on a Western diet pretty well. It's very, very unhealthy. And yeah, like obviously French fries and like ultra processed potatoes, they're not going to have that much protein in them. And ultra processed potatoes are very common in the Western diet. And if you live on fast food, which is mostly the Western diet, then there's like weak macros. You're going to be getting some protein in, but it's not everything's protein. There'll be some salads for your micronutrients and calcium. But otherwise, I'm going to put the Western diet at B tier just because it's quite standard. And it's not extremely optimal. But you can build muscle well on it. Okay, now we're moving on to the Mediterranean diets. The Mediterranean diet is by far like the best thing you want to, like literally the best diet if you want to be building muscle. Mediterranean diets are so anabolic. There's high quality proteins. There's fish, there's chicken, lots of dairy, lots of high dairy foods, right? Dairy has tons of protein in it. The macros are absolutely elite. You'll get all the carbs you need. The rice is, you get rice with your chicken. Chicken and rice is literally the most anabolic food you can be eating if you want to be putting on muscle. And Mediterranean food is literally chicken and rice. And beef and rice, Shawarmas are very delicious as well and very anabolic for you. They're balanced, they're sustainable, and they keep you lean. It's a very aesthetic. You stay lean, you feel good, you build steady muscle. This is literally an S tier diet. Mediterranean food is really good. It's really good for building muscle. The keto diet, on the other hand, it's moderate protein, so you can eat like eggs. The keto diet has chicken as well, lean proteins. It's moderate, but the carb restrictions kind of kill training intensity. Now, here's one thing. This is going to upset a lot of people in this video, but you need a lot of carnivores. We'll get to carnivore and everything, but you have to understand that if you want to lift heavy and you want to have the most muscular stress and you want to do you want to get the most muscular damage. These are two drivers of hypertrophy, muscular stress and damage. And you get them by lifting heavy and damaging your muscles, obviously. You're not going to be able to lift very heavy if you're not eating carbs, because your body likes to burn carbs for quick fuel. Fats, on a keto diet, you're going to go into ketogenesis. Ketogenesis is when you burn fats for fuel instead of carbs. And you're running on ketones instead of, just standard glucose. So on the keto diet, you can get very shredded, but you will not build muscle as fast. And just because of that, I'm going to put it in F tier. The keto diet is, you will build muscle. You can build muscle sustainably. You will build it slower than every other diet. You will build it slower. If you're living without carbs, you're not going to be able to train that intensely, and you won't be able to destroy your muscles as intensely. You'll be able to gain muscle. The food that you eat will definitely help you recover and make more muscle, but you're not going to be building much muscle, and because you'll not be training in the gym. So see how it indirectly affects it? Keto diet is definitely an F tier. Next, we're moving on to the paleo diet. Sorry. Now, the paleo diet has solid protein. There's meat, fish, and eggs. Right? Paleo diet is basically just think of the standard Stone Age human diet. That's what they're doing. You're eating the most basic things. You're not eating beans and legumes, basically. So we're gonna put the paleo diet on the C tier. It's really good for protein, but there's not really dairy. There's no grains. It's harder to bulk. Therefore, it's harder to pack on like calorie dense foods. You don't really get to eat dairy and grains, right? Like I said, there's decent macros. You hit your macros pretty well from like fruits and veggies. But still, it's quite restrictive. It's very restrictive. You literally can't touch modern foods, right? So if you want to build muscle, you'll be missing out on macros sometimes. Like you'll be missing out on carbs a lot, and you'll be missing out on macronutrients some of the times. So that's why it's put into the C tier. Now we're gonna look at the vegan diets. There we go. I guess I should explain, but it's not really like, bro, where's protein coming from? Like you can eat 4 pounds to 5 pounds of soy, tofu, every single day if you really want to be hitting your protein, but you're not. That's first of all, that's not good for you. Eating soy in that much concentration is estrogenic. Eating it in a small concentration is not. Eating it in that concentration is very estrogenic, which is not good for muscle gain, by the way. And this is diets for muscle growth. That diet is not healthy for muscle growth whatsoever. How are you going to build muscle on grass, right? You're eating grass all day. There's no muscle to be made there. I know there are vegan bodybuilders, but you really have to sacrifice your testosterone to that. The only way you can really get protein in on a vegan diet is eating low diets, chickpeas and foods like that which have low protein bioavailability, and then bulking on tofu, which destroys your testosterone. So yeah, I'm in vegan diets F tier. And vegetarian diet, we're going to go ahead, and by the way, vegetarian diet is different than the vegan diet. So vegetarian, as you can see in this image, you get eggs, or you can't really see it, the vegetarian's covering it, but you get eggs. You get animal products. So it's way better than vegan, thanks to dairy, and you get dairy and eggs. It's very carb heavy though. It's easy to overshoot your calories. You'll be eating rice a lot. If you're not careful, you can get weak on iron and B12, those micronutrients. So, I mean, vegetarianism is basically veganism, but it's just better, slightly better. I'm going to put it 1 up, just because you get eggs and dairy. If you really want to be building as much muscle as possible, though, definitely just start eating meats. Try to start eating at least chicken. I know it's against religion sometimes, but if you're really serious about your goals, meat is required, okay? I want you guys to think about this, right? Cavemen, how did they build muscle? Well, the best hunters, the best cavemen, they got to build muscle because they ate the meat from the animals they hunted. First of all, they tore their muscles to shreds, running after and hunting animals. And once they, did all that hypertrophic work and endurance work, they got stronger and built on muscle, fueled from the animal they had better have killed after doing all that exercise, right? So the body was literally meant to go and hunt animals and go kill the animals, and that damage that it did to your body, it wants to make you stronger and a better hunter by rewarding you for killing that animal and giving you the benefits of the protein and the meat that you just consumed. So I think that's my take on it. So I think if you want to build a lot of muscle, you got to be eating some animal proteins for sure. Finally, we're going to look at the carnivore diets. Now, this is going to be very, very controversial. There's people who can build tons of muscle in the carnivore diet. Problem is, remember, we're assuming there's no supplements. Okay, if you're not getting your supplements in, this is going to tank testosterone because the carnivore diet does increase your cortisol because cortisol helps burn your glucose or burn glycogen for energy, which is what your body wants to do because you're not eating any carbs, right? So the carnivore diets increases your cortisol a lot. You're not getting any carbs, so you're not going to be able to lift very heavy in the gym, which in turn will reduce muscle stress, muscle damage, which in turn reduces hypertrophy. So those are all interlinked. Mentally, you can feel more clear, but the carnivore diet is not the most optimal if you want to be building bodybuilder type muscle. So that, my friends, is going to go into the F tier as well. Now, that was my tier list on all 8 diets. I really value you guys' feedback, so go ahead in the comments and let me know anything that I got the science wrong on, anything that you think I could have improved on. But yeah, if you guys want to learn how to optimize your diets, go ahead and just follow me on Instagram and DM me, and I would love to help you guys optimize your diet. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.